Welcome back. You're listening to Get Real, and I'm your host, Bob Gallagher. Joining me in the studio is my friend, very special guest, and realtor, Dick Urato. Welcome to the show, Dick.
Thank you so much. It is great to be back. I had some positive feedback last time I was on, and
Yeah.
it's just great to be co-hosting with you, Bob. Thank you.
I'm excited to have you back, Dick. So why don't we talk about the state of the real estate market and what's going on today in real estate all over the state?
Well, you know, I have that question asked all the time, and what's happening is home prices around the country are continuing to climb, and they're not likely to slow down. From December of 2016 to December of 2017, the prices shot up about 6.6% out through the country. Mm-hmm. This year, prices are going to continue to climb, and they're increasing, going to be about 4.5% to 5% by the end of 2018.
And that's nationally?
Nationally.
Okay.
So you see that all over, and it's exciting for the sellers out there. And my clients always ask, what's causing it? Well, the rising income of the consumer, and now he has confidence, he's out buying, he's out doing things, has increased the number of prospective home buyers out there. And the net result is that you're getting rising demand from buyers, but you have a limited supply of inventory. So, and that's causing home appreciation. So a lot of people are starting to tap into that appreciation of their home by looking to either upsize, downsize, to move on forward, whatever the reason.
Relocate to Florida?
I'm thinking of doing that.
Yeah. Are you? Yeah. Just during the winter, though.
Well, today my wife called me and said, well, let's go to the beach. And I'm thinking, well, there's a nor'easter coming tomorrow.
I know. It's only in New England. 60 today and a snowstorm tomorrow.
Absolutely. You know, and I related to my clients out there. I said, today's market's like you go into a supermarket to buy a loaf of bread, and the bread used to be $2 or $3, and now you go there and you notice there's a crowd around the bread aisle.
Yes.
And the bread is like $8 for that loaf, and there's only one loaf. So now you got to compete to get that loaf of bread. So there's a lot of buyers, a lot of activity, but at this point right now, it's a seller's market, so buyers have got to be sharp in what they're trying to do.
Right. Well, that leads me to my next question, Dick. How do you become a successful buyer in today's market with such low inventory?
Well, you know, in being out there with buyers and seeing the trends that are out there was a couple things I noticed. One of them, the first one is they have to do preliminary shopping. That means get in your car, get your wife, get out there, start looking around the neighborhoods, pack a lunch, make it an adventure, maybe stop for an ice cream when the weather gets better. But you're going to go out there because now you're going to get a feel of what's happening out there. And if you're looking in certain towns, you want to know, what it's like. Maybe where you're looking, okay, I don't want to be on that side of the town. There's a railroad track. Maybe there's something else that you don't want. It's not favorable for you purchasing. So the only way you're going to do it is to get out. And most of my clientele now are going out 2 to 3 months before to kind of scout the area to get a feel of what's going on.
Right.
If you don't do that, you're going to be behind the competition. And I tell my buyers all the time, before you could just put sneakers on and get out there and compete.
Yeah.
Now you need to put your track shoes on.
Yeah.
So that's what's happening out there. So I tell them all the time, get out there and get a feel of the market. The second one I find is you got to find an experienced agent. It's like all of a sudden a doctor. You want an experienced doctor?
Yes.
Because what's happening, a lot of people say, well, a friend of a friend. Well, it's like meeting somebody in an alley. Say, I got a friend of a friend that's a doctor.
Yeah.
So
he'll do your heart transplant. No questions asked. $20.
Absolutely. And you want somebody that has a ear to the ground and that knows the neighborhoods, that knows the dynamics of what's happening out there. And my attitude is, I want a client for a lifetime. I just don't want them for a transaction. And I see a lot of agents are just out there. They want to get that sale. They're eager to get the sale, but they're not really in tune to what that buyer really is looking for. And I think that's the difference. You want a lifetime of transactions, whether it's with family, relatives, associates. But if you're looking for that fast, just one time, that's not going to be an agent you really want to deal with. Another thing I found, and plus on the internet, right now people are going on the internet to look for homes, and 75% of them that find an agent, the first time they see that agent, they're usually settling with that agent. So it's good for agents to kind of be on that social media and to show what they can do. But you want to get somebody that has the experience, the wherewithal to meet your goals and what you're trying to do. And a good realtor is going to find out what your why is. Why are you selling? Why are you looking for a home? And he can get into the what. What's your motivation? That's important. If you're not motivated, you're just going to be kicking tires. And believe me, sellers can feel that out there.
Yes, yeah.
So they want the real deal, and it's important. That leads me to the next thing, which is to get a pre-approval. And you know that better than anybody, Bob, with your mortgage company. It's like I saw a Western the other day. It says, don't bring a knife to a gunfight. So that's what's happening out there. If you don't get pre-approved, then you're wasting the seller's time because you have to be ready, willing, and able to purchase. And that means you got to do the groundwork, and you have to have an agent that wants to support you in that groundwork. Because without that, you're going to go out there, and the competition that's already pre-approved, as you know, is going to beat you on that.
Right. Yeah, if you go, you can't even really make an offer anymore without a pre-approval letter, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and that's the first thing they're going to ask for. And it's good to sit with in your company, Bob, with Ross Mortgage, is that you're going to look at their budget, you're going to look at what they want. Because I tell buyers all the time, I can get you in $1 million home, but if you can't buy a pizza the next day,
Right.
then I've done nothing for you. And if you wake up wondering how you're going to pay your bills, then the home isn't a home anymore.
Right.
And you're not making memories. It's distressful to you.
Right.
So you want to make sure that you get people that are aligned with you, like the real estate agent and the mortgage professional that's going to make sure that your budgets and your ratios, everything is ready,
Right.
and you're ready to lock and load and get out there and make a competitive.
Right, and because we've worked so many times together, it's not just about what you qualify for on paper, because on paper it may be fine, but in real life, when you start making that mortgage payment and all of a sudden you realize the only way you're going to be able to make that payment is if you don't go out to eat anymore, you don't go to the movies, you don't go out with your friends.
That's right.
You basically have to live on SpaghettiOs and bologna for the next 5 years. If you're not prepared to do that, so that's why when we sit down with people, we ask them, here's what you qualify for on paper, but what's your comfort range? What are you going to be comfortable with over the long term, not what you qualify for on paper? And
Right.
a lot of times those numbers are pretty different.
Yeah, I tell you, people come, I say, look at my philosophy, and just like yours, Bob, we've done a lot of deals together, helped a lot of my family and friends and associates, is you're going to come as a client, but you're going to leave as a friend.
Yes.
You want somebody that's going to look at your situation and give you the best advice and the leadership that you need to make the proper decisions. And it's all about education.
Right.
And because, at the end, the buyer is going to make that decision.
Right.
And I also want my buyers to be patient.
Yes.
This is more of a marathon than a sprint, because you could look at that first house and fall in love, but all of a sudden you might get cold feet and say, whoa, I could have looked around a little more. So educate yourself on what's in the market, be patient, and get pre-approved so you get ahead of the competition, and do the legwork. You've got to get out, you've got to make it, and you have to have it where it's a priority.
Yes.
You've got to finally make up your mind that you're ready to go. You're not half in, half out. Because once your heart's in it, you're ready to roll. And that happened with me. We were downsizing. My wife and I kept saying before, you ready to move? And she goes, no, not yet. Finally, one day, and this is a year later, said, I'm ready. Let's go. And then everything started moving. Yes, it was a lot of hard work, and yes, you had to prepare. But the end result is that you're going to get something great. And I tell agents and I tell my clients all the time, don't be afraid to leave the shore, because you can't discover new islands.
That's
and
right.
A lot of people get cold feet, and they go, what about this and what about that? Well, you're going to be able to do it once your heart goes over that bar. So
Yes.
that's the big thing on that. So that's the great thing about buyers, and the buyers have to be patient because of the competition. Now, the other side of it is sellers.
Yeah.
And I see out there, and I deal with a lot of sellers, is somebody would say, well, why do you worry about the sellers? Their house, they have a mega ticket in their pocket. They have so many buyers looking to buy their product, so they can just sit back and sell. Well, you have to kind of prepare as a seller, because the buyers still are knowledgeable. And one of the big things, and there's a couple things I noticed in dealing with sellers, one of the big things is they overprice and overvalue their home. That's normal because it's your home.
And I was going to say, that's not like something that happens occasionally.
Happens all the
you
time.
ask any seller, and they think their house is worth, probably 20% more than it actually is?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's funny, Bob, that and after it sits for 4 weeks, I tell them all the time, look, after 4 weeks, the buyers are going to start saying, which I would say, what's wrong with the house?
Right.
Could be nothing wrong, but why hasn't it sold? And especially a market where everything's selling in a day or two.
Yeah.
So that's the question you don't want to ask from a buyer, and that's why you deal with a professional real estate agent, where they're going to help you look at the neighborhoods, what's sold, what's pending, what's going on in the market, what the inventory is in your particular neighborhood. You want to know that so you can price it right. The second thing I noticed is they picked the wrong realtor or the mortgage professional, and I tell them you have to make sure you get somebody, because it doesn't cost you anything more to pick a good realtor or a bad realtor.
Yes.
So you want to get somebody that actually has your interest in hand,
Yeah.
that is professional, that they know the areas, they've done the legwork themselves.
You could actually say, and I don't mean to cut you off, Dick, but could actually say that it does cost you a lot more if you pick the wrong realtor.
It absolutely does, because you have a dream, and I consider myself a dream maker, and I say that because these are big decisions, for sellers to sell their house or buyers to buy, and you have to have a team around you. And in my case, with you, Bob, we've done a lot of mortgages. We have a team of professional lawyers, appraisers, inspectors. We have a team that's going to help out.
Yes.
And you want that power that when you go in to negotiate and you're going to the closing,
Right.
that you're going to get the job done and get you in the house that you're proud of, or go on with your goals of what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Especially as the seller, what are you trying to accomplish? You're selling, yes, that's going to happen, but what's your next step?
Right.
Are you looking to relocate? Are you looking to downsize, upsize?
Yeah.
Something's going to happen.
And you and I have a really good example of why you need the right team. We work with an awesome closing attorney that we've been working with for as long as we've been working together. It's got to be 8-10 years now. And perfect example is you never know what's going to come up during the process. So the buyer was outstanding, overqualified, plenty of money down, ended up buying a house, turned out that it was on a private road. And the issue with a private road is if it's private, the town's not responsible for maintenance or plowing or anything else, so you have to have a private road maintenance agreement.
That's right, yeah.
Which usually isn't a big deal in this state because there's usually just like 2 or 3 houses on it, and it's easy enough to get people to sign on it.
Correct.
This one that I'm thinking of, there were 11 or 12 houses, and the attorney was knocking on doors the week before closing between 6 and 10 o'clock at night to explain to everybody on the street what was needed and got them all to sign, and it closed on time. Most places could not get that deal done like that.
Yeah, I think the thing that we've worked so well, Bob, with you and Ross Mortgage and the attorneys in our team is one of the great things is that we have no limit on service level.
Right.
It's unlimited. You have to find somebody that is going to service your needs, whether they're going out day and night, it doesn't matter. The end result is to sell your home at the highest possible price in the shortest period of time. Mm-hmm. That's the goal, and everybody is on that goal, and everybody understands the goal. So that's exactly what you just said, and that's exciting, and you want to have people like that. And it's a shame because some people just don't have that support around them, and they really should have that.
Yes, absolutely.
One of the other things that's crazy out there with sellers, I went to a couple open houses this weekend, Bob, and there were 25 couples at each open house. And
25 couples, not 25 people, 25
couples. And then another one in Framingham, there were 2 streets leading to the house, and they were loaded, lined up with cars. So there are multiple offers being made. Mm-hmm. And at that point, you need somebody to help you negotiate. One of the things I saw that with sellers, as I've talked to them about it, is they try to save money and cut corners, and they try to do the home repairs themselves. Mm-hmm. I know my dad, the Italian guy, I think he read a book on electricity and rewired, I think, some of the cellar. And I can remember that he would put a light on and you could see us from space. So what I tell everybody, if you're going to be doing some work, if you want to do some small work, maybe some wallpaper and stuff, maybe fix
painting.
Yeah. Don't get creative. You want to get a handyman or a certified contractor. And remember, I go into homes and I'm looking at them and I'm like, hey, this is a great addition. Do you have a building permit? Nah, my dad did it.
Ew, that's tough.
So that's tough. And so if you're going to get into stuff like hot water heaters, plumbing, electricity, ductwork, get a professional.
Yeah.
And I've seen so many people spend a lot of money fixing what they did.
Yeah.
Because everything looks easy at Home Depot.
Yeah, yes, it does. When you get it home, it's not so much, not as easy.
Right. Another thing I tell sellers too is don't withhold any information on your seller statement. Be sincere, be trustworthy. Tell it like it is for your house. You got somebody buying. Think how you'd feel if you're buying a house and somebody said, well, I didn't know there was a water problem, but you did know there was a water problem. You know, treat the buyers with respect as though you'd want to be treated if you were buying a house. And at the end, I tell them, you got to let go of your ego. And I say that because a lot of them, I'm going to sell my house. I did a lot of work. I put a beautiful pool in. I spent a lot of money. Well, I always tell them, well, the buyer I have doesn't like to swim. So as much as you love your house, you have to be careful about that because the person buying your house wants to envision themselves in your house.
Right.
So I tell them all the time too, Bob. I always tell them one of the big things I find that sellers sometimes do is they like to stay at the open house or stay when buyers are coming through. And I relate that to having your mother-in-law on your honeymoon. It's just not going to work out.
No,
so
it's
I
not.
tell the sellers, go out for a coffee, relax, because remember, that buyer is trying to envision that house to make memories that it's their home. And if they're seeing all your pictures on the wall, they don't want to be part of your family.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And I tell them, and the big thing is declutter. Make your house bigger, declutter.
Yeah.
You have 3 piles. You're going to either keep it, get rid of it, or donate it.
Yeah.
And you got to be steadfast in that because just like you, and people, when they're going to sell their car, will clean their car. So let's clean the house up.
Yeah.
So I find that, and I think that's what's happening out there. So I think if you're a buyer, the big thing I can say to you is get pre-qualified so you have some firepower.
Yes.
Due diligence, get out there and check out the areas. Work closely with your realtor in finding places that will suit your need.
Right.
If you're looking for a 4-bedroom, don't be wasting your time on a 2-bedroom.
Right, right.
And that's important. And especially with the pre-qualifications, Bob, like with your company, Ross Mortgages, you got to find out not only what you qualify for, but what you feel comfortable in a payment.
Right.
Because like I say, a house is not a home if you have to struggle to make a payment.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. We're just about out of time. Dick, I want to thank you for coming on, and I want to give out your contact info. Anybody that's looking to buy or sell anywhere from Worcester County east to Boston, you definitely want to give Dick Urato a call. His number is 978-868-8621. I'll give you that one more time. It's 978-868-8621. Dick, thanks again for joining us today.
Thanks so much, Bob. It's great being here with you.
We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with more Get Real after this.